All right, I've had quite a few questions about the Time Sports Simple series. All right, so this is a long story over this little book, and it only came up in the last week or so. Um, as a friend, I wanted to send a subscriber and friend a gift with my signature, and as a gift for his support and for some of the community things that he's done. And I had written him an email and said, do you own any books? If you do, what do you own, so I don't send you what you already own? And so he wrote back and told me what he owned. And I said, okay, I've got books here, and I'll pick one and I'll sign it and send it to you. Meanwhile, I was going through my unfinished folder and my projects folder. These are ideas that I've been working on and I shelved for a reason, or ideas that I forgot about because I was working on something else. And I was going through my computer folder archives of books that I was working on that I never finished, that were unpublished. And I found Simple Time Sports. I had forgotten that I had standardized the 7 Time Sports games to using math ratings instead of grades. And I completed it. I completed the games. I completed the book. And it never saw the light of day. So I literally finished it. I had revised all of the Simple Time Sports games to a math rating. That's why it's simple, because you can now match up teams instantly versus a cross-reference chart. Anyway, long story short, because I had my time games and I had my Big Country book out, and they all use the Time Engine grading system, I had decided it would be very confusing for people if I released the Simple series with using math ratings instead of letter grades. And so I ended up making the Time Sports Simple series, but using the letter grade system. And it was called Time Sports Complete, or Time Sports Complete Simple series. So there were the same games, slightly different covers. And they were, it was for sale briefly, like 1 month, and I pulled it. And then later I put up that version of the PDF available free on the Google Drive for, I don't know, about 6 months. And anyway, pulled it again, because I just, it wasn't ultimately what I wanted people to experience. I wanted them to experience Time Sports, or Time Sports or Big Country Time Sports. And originally the Simple series was quite literally, the games were revised for instant matchups. Every sport had a paragraph of rules and a chart on a single page. So that literally football's all on one page. Boxing, every game is one page is the whole game. So it's a paragraph of how you play the game, and then it's the charts for that sport, and the next page is a new sport, etc. So it was a very thin, very portable, very easy to carry and use book, and it was fast. But I talked myself out of making the transition to the number ratings because I thought it would be confusing at the time, because my Time Sports engine used letter grades. So I shelved it and completely forgot about it, and had not even gone back in to polish it and proofread it. I had just abandoned it for the letter grade version. Okay. Long story short, I'm about to sign one of my books and get it in the mail to my friend as a gift for, again, his support and everything he's done in the community. And before I did it, I realized, wow, wouldn't it be cool to make this never before published, never before version of this book, the never before published book of this version of the Time Sports Simple Games, as a gift. So I took the time to write a personalized letter, and I put it at the front of his book with a digital signature. I had Lulu print it and mail it directly to him. So it is a one-of-a-kind, never-before-seen version of what I had intended the simple series of Time Sports games to be. Okay, so with that being said, once that book was in the mail, the very rare, and I mean rare, when I say rare, I mean it had not been proofed. If there were any typos or there were any flubs in the book, they're there, they're intact. So he has quite literally, I would argue, not the first draft, because I always prepare my games on notebook paper, and then that's when I begin to write them and put them into word processor, and then I start to lay them out, etc., whatever, and that's when I get that part done, and then I start proofing and making sure everything's aligned. And long story short, he got probably he got the pre-publication proof. This would have been the one I would have used to proof. Again, typos, flubs, fix any mistakes on the charts or anything. Well, he got basically the proof publication with a letter, a personalized letter about the history of a game that had never been published, and my digital signature and a date, and that's it. That's his copy. Well, having found this version that I'd completely forgotten I'd done. I did this version in like 2019 before I moved on to do the concept, but with letter grades. So you got to remember there's a concept. When I make books, there's a concept, like the Big Country games. The concept was they were going to be the advanced version of my sports games. They were going to be set in the Big Country universe. They would all have pre-made leagues and teams. That book, Big Country Time Sports, is think of it as a concept album. Bands would do concept albums. Think of my books as concept books. Big Country Time Sports is a concept. All of my games, the advanced versions with a universe, with teams made, with players named, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Then there's Time Sports, which is again the Time Sports are the basic versions of the games. They're completely different in ratings and how you build teams, etc., and off season. But that particular book again has 7 sports or 8. I mean, it might have 8. No, it doesn't have Rally and 7 sports. It's the simple versions, and that also includes. Not only does it include 16 leagues, but it includes schedules for every sport, so you can jump right in and start playing those games, and that's available in paperback. And then I had a Time Sports Complete Simple series, which again was only for sale for a brief time. It seemed redundant. It wasn't what I had wanted it to be. As far as the whole point was, it was meant to be simple. It was meant to be faster, easier, and portable. And so I pulled it. It was available on my Google Drive as a free PDF for a while, but ultimately I pulled it because it just wasn't. Again, I like to put out books that feature concepts. There's a reason there's a simple series. Okay. So finding these files and doing this and getting it printed and sent off to my friend, I scrutinized it and I said, you know what? It's time now to actually finish this. So I went to work proofing it and changing the font and making sure all of the charts and the revised rules were actually refined and intact. So this is the publication version of a rare gift that I have sent to a friend. So this is, in a way, what would have ultimately been released in 2019 had I stuck to my guns about making it a math rating system. Okay. With that said, let me show you what I mean. So for those who don't know, the Time Engine, all teams, players, etc. are, if there's any ratings in the game, for the most part, they are based on letter grades from A to F, A, B, C, D, F. So an A offense is fantastic, and an F offense is really bad. And when you match up an A offense against a C defense, you're going to get another letter grade. That letter grade is what that team gets to use during the game to score its points. That's the basic concept of my time engine. Okay, which means, like boxing, you've got to not only match up whether your boxer is a boxer or a slugger, if they're facing a boxer or slugger, and you're also matching up your boxer versus slugger against their defense, and those things will give you a boxer's grade for that fight, right? And then, of course, you're going to use that to roll the round action. So that'll tell you how many points they scored a round, whether they cut their opponent, whether they knocked down their opponent, whatever. Okay. Racing, you're going to have the driver and the car are going to give you a grade. So you match the driver and the car together on a team, and that gives you a team grade. You measure the team grade against the racing track's grade. That gives you the race grade. That's how well that team should do today on that track. Okay, so the time games they use matchup matrix, but we use rating grades instead of math. Now, the DNA for this particular book I'm talking about right now, the math version, the DNA of this concept is actually in the advanced game. So Big Country Time Sports, baseball, and hockey use a number system. They do not use a grade system. So if you own Big Country Time Sports and you play the hockey game or the baseball game, you'll notice it doesn't use A, B, C, D, F. It uses 0 through 4+. That system in that advanced Big Country Time Sports game, hockey or baseball, which uses a number system and not a letter grade system, that comes from this idea from 2019. So the DNA of the Big Country Hockey and Big Country Baseball started with this concept. However, I talked myself out of it because I thought it would be, at the time, confuse people. Why does this game have grades? Why does your Time Sports football time have grades, but your Time Sports football time have numbers? So, and it will still come up. People are still going to scratch their head and say, wait a minute. And at this point, again, I don't care. I was inspired to finish it. It was something that should have been published. And I talked myself out of it in lieu of keeping with letter grades. Okay, so not only did I go back to this original 2018-2019 concept and make sure it was refined, again, I've proofed it, rewrote much of the introduction and rules, and I went through systematically every game. And so the other reason that makes this the simple series is it uses standardization. So every entity in every sport uses the same chart to rate the entities. And it uses the same off-season chart no matter what the sport. So if you want to play hockey, you rate the teams with the standard chart, and you go through the off-season of the standard chart. And if you play football, you rate them with the same chart, you go through the same off-season. So there's a standard creation chart for all 7 sports, and there is a off-season chart for all 7 sports. So that's partially, that was the goal. It was to really standardize the Time Sports engine, but use math grades so matchups are instant. You don't have to cross-reference stuff on a chart. Now you just add the ratings together, and that gives you a total that you use on the scoring charts. So it's much faster. It's much more streamlined and standardized. But every single sport is depicted on one page of the book. So football times rules and both charts are on one page. And again, if you have the Time Sports Complete book, or you have the Time Sports Complete Simple Series book, which was basically the same book, it just had a different title, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right, so again, this is a very simple answer to multiple questions. What's up with Time Sports Series? They are one-page sports using a standardized creation and off-season. The difference is, this is the original concept. It was never originally published. I have since been inspired when I found the old files and sent that gift off. I said, I need to publish this. I need to finish what I had started on it. more importantly, it deserves space in the canon, in the library, because this is truly a simple series. It's much faster. The games are much simpler, and it's universal. It's portable. It's a 5.8 by 8.6 size booklet. It's really what I intended people would carry with them in their briefcase with a D6 and a notebook. Index cards for your teams or team lists. Easily could have your entire league written in a list because the ratings and things are that simple. Okay, long story short, that's what this is. So if you own Time Sports Complete or the Time Sports Complete Simple Series book, you essentially understand what this game is, but that uses the traditional time letter grades, which are 100% compatible with all of the Time Engine games. This particular version of the games is not compatible with the letter grade games. It uses math. Okay. So quickly, we'll just take a glance at what the book looks like. So again, it's a booklet, so it's 6 by 8 or whatever, a little smaller than that. It's like 5.83. It's A5. It's an A5 booklet. Perfect paperback. 36 pages. However, I think the last 5 pages are they're blank for notes and ideas for you to scribble in your leagues or whatever you want to do. And that was to get it where I could do it in paperback, so it was cheaper. Believe it or not, perfect paperback is cheaper than all other. Hardback's the most expensive. Coil is the second most expensive. And saddle stitch is actually more expensive than paperback. So to get it into perfect paperback, I had to add some blank pages. And those are just for notes, right? Okay. So how does it work? Well, we got the table. Now again, for those of you who have Time Sports Complete, you will see the DNA of that game's writing, because the original skeleton for Time Sports Complete was used. I just went in and rewrote the rules and changed everything to letter grades and published it as Time Sports Engine. So this was, again, what the original concept was. I've added a cover by my wife because I'm using the cover of the book. This cover is, again, my wife's original sketches on the front and back. So, again, I give credit to her in the table of contents. Okay, so the introduction, it was meant to be instant, and instant requires math as opposed to cross-referencing. So you don't have to cross-reference now, you just add stuff up. Same ideas for those who don't know. One of the reasons in digging through my files and finding this original version, hit me so strongly was I had forgotten about it. And for those who don't know, I just finished CCD football. And the time ratings version of that game uses this concept where you add numbers. So my pass offense and your pass defense adds together to give me a total number. That idea was originally born in 2018 or whatever for this game. And then later I used the concepts for my new CCD team ratings. Okay. So when I saw this, I immediately said, well, this is the perfect gift to send, but I'll just add a personalized letter and sign it digitally. And he will have this thing, this spark, this idea that was never published, which he still has. Super rare. And then I sat back down to basically proof it, rewrite it, remaster it, and fine tune to make sure all the charts are their absolute best. Okay, so that's what this is. Long story short, 20 minutes later, that's it. Okay, so to give you an idea, team creation, you still roll up your D6 to create ratings. Each team in the game has 3 ratings: offense, defense, and special. Racing, for instance, and baseball do not require a 3rd rating. You can roll up a 3rd rating and use it for your own desire, but the only 2 games in this book that don't require a 3rd rating is baseball and racing, believe it or not. And then there's an off-season chart. In the off-season, you'll put all your teams through this chart for every single rating on the team, and they'll see how their team changes between seasons. And again, then I talk about the simple number value. This was the whole concept. I was making the change. I was turning Time Sports alphabet system into a number system to eliminate the need for the matchup chart. So it was instant. I could literally just look at my offense, your defense, add them together. That was what I was going to get to use for scoring. So 1 + 1 is 2. Okay, so the Bills are using 2 today. And I look at the 2 column for the football game, and that's all the Bills get to use for today's game because they're against a 1-rated defense. So it meant to simplify the games, fit all rules and charts onto 1 page per sport, make it as small as possible, as portable as possible. And that was this original concept. So again, I think that gives you an idea of what this is. If you already own Time Sports Complete or Time Sports Complete Simple Series book, which was available both for sale briefly, very briefly, maybe a month, and then eventually it went into the Google Drive during one of our periods of free PDFs, and it was there for probably 6 months. And again, it's been pulled. That whole thing is forever gone. You will never see Time Sports Complete PDF or book again. And right now, this is only available in paperback. This, like my flagship, Big Country Time Sports and Time Sports, those will always be paperbacks, and they will always be available. So my 3 versions, basically my portable, instant book, that's this. Then there's Time Sports, which are more detailed with individual players rated and things like that. And then there's the Big Country, which is the advanced versions of all the games in the Big Country universe. So there's basically the Simple Series, Time Sports, and then there's Big Country Time Sports. And so that's what this would be. However, know something. Time Sports Simple Series is not compatible with the other 2 because it doesn't use alphabet grades. So if you own Time Sports Complete or Time Sports Complete Simple Series, that's at least compatible with all the other Time Sports games. So every Time Sports game that's been published previously in all iterations, they're completely compatible. This particular version, because it used the math system, the number system, is not at all compatible, right? Okay, so that makes this in a way different, but not, right? So again, hopefully that kind of gives everybody an idea of what that is. Okay, all right, bye-bye.